Hello. So, Americans are fat as hell, and I have no idea why. Which is why today I'm going to react to this video. My 14 healthy habits living in Sweden. How they're beating obesity. I assume they is referring to the Swedes. Or maybe it's the habits. Maybe it's both. All I want to know is, why are the Swedes so thin and Americans are so fat? Sorry. All right. Go check out Kelty O'Connor. Link down below. This video has 1 million frickin' views. That's part of the reason I was intrigued by it. Let's do it.
I was up late sitting on my couch. 1 year ago, I was up late sitting on my couch binging some random documentary on YouTube.
Like you are right now, Becky.
They were showing the rise of obesity around the world, and something caught my curiosity as every country
Called Becky out.
went from yellow to orange to a deep red on the map, indicating a higher percent of its population becoming obese.
Oh, so it's not just America getting fat. I love to hear that. Sorry, I just wanted to glance at that chat or that chart right there. Huh. So the Cook Islands flag is just Australia's with a little circle on it. Where even is America? What the hell? The world's most obese nations. Where the hell is America? I thought we were like up there. I mean, I know we're up there. They just left us out. Wow, I'm offended.
One country remained yellow, Sweden.
How are you going to leave America out on a video about obesity?
Someone who lives half their life in North America and half in Sweden, this definitely caught my eye. Sweden is the country of candy and cinnamon buns, but also the country famous for their tall, beautiful, athletic, blonde citizens. How is Sweden seeming to deflect the fast food marketing influence sedentary lives we've all given to these days? I'm not an obesity researcher, so I can't directly link factors to obesity. I did notice last summer though, as many North Americans went to Europe for the summer, all over my TikTok, individuals were talking about how they're eating dairy and pasta and breads and not gaining any weight.
I've seen that too. It's an interesting phenomenon.
Having lived between Canada and Sweden the last 4 years, I have noticed 14 unique
Probably because they don't put sugar in the bread in Europe.
things that I think help combat some of the marketing tactics used on us in North America, allowing Swedes to maintain more of a healthy lifestyle.
Okay. We're really going to blame it on marketing tactics? I guess Americans are very consumerist, huh?
Number 1, the grocery store. Classic American grocery store. You walk in, what's the first thing waiting for you? Hot dogs, eggnog, the seasonal novelty things. And yes, there's
Hot dogs? I'm confused.
vegetables on the side that you see and it looks pretty, but you don't go there. You go straight down the aisle, packaged goods. Classic Swedish grocery store.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm kind of like, I'm trying to think, like, okay. All right. Okay, honestly, usually the first thing is the produce aisle. Let's continue. But then, yeah, you get to all the processed shit, which is where everybody just walks straight through the produce, right?
You walk in and you're forced to follow a pattern of sorts. And what's the first thing it forces you to go through? Fresh fruit and vegetables. Next, bread. A little trick they do in North American marketing is they put all the cheap stuff right at eye level. They know you'll grab, and it's usually a higher margins for the company. And that usually means not as high quality of food. So the second thing you're going into is the bread.
Yeah, the cheap shit that they put together in a factory on a factory line that they pump out for 25 cents each, it's probably not healthy, right? I mean, that's probably true. Although I will say bananas, super cheap. They're only like 25 cents each. Whenever I was really struggling for money, I would eat a lot of bananas. I'm surprised here in America, some of the fattest people are very poor. I mean, there is a lot of truth to the fact that the cheap food is really bad for you. But if you're actually trying, you can find some healthy food that's cheap.
What's at eye level? It's the whole grain, high fiber, high protein. Now, the white, almost air-like Dempster bread we all know and love. It's delicious. It does not fill your stomach. I could eat 8 Nutella Dempster sandwiches and it not even make a dent. So of course you're going to overeat it. And where are they in Sweden? Buried at the bottom. Yes, they're there, but you got to search for them. It's not the first thing they want you grabbing.
Interesting. It's kind of interesting because, like, white bread, not only would it be in the middle, it would be like a whole section of just white bread. You know, it wouldn't just be like, oh, where's the white bread? No, it's a whole section of white bread, and you're like, where's the whole grain bread? That's at the bottom.
Number 2, lunch culture. Okay, we love lunch in North America too, but has anyone ever noticed you don't feel as satisfied after? Like, I could definitely go for a Mars bar right after I slam my Chipotle burrito as I run back to the office, or beside my computer as I work through lunch. Now, Swedes, they take their time to enjoy it. There's a true pause in the middle of the day. Everyone leaves the office and actually sits down and has their lunch.
You know, but I mean, I feel like intuitively that would make you fatter if you're sitting there eating for a longer period of time. I mean, I guess I have to kind of think about, like, my fellow Americans, because luckily I'm not actually fat yet. So, like, I don't really eat lunch very often. But a lot of Americans, I mean, just get fast food every day.
They have a lot of these halls in Sweden, I've noticed, and it's like this bougie adult cafeteria full
I mean, if you only have a 20-minute lunch break, then what else can you get other than McDonald's?
of high quality lunch bowls and poke and pastas, but everything is good quality and affordable.
Yum.
People are mingling and
No way that's affordable.
poke
That would literally be $15 here in America.
and pastas, but everything is good quality and affordable.
At
People are
least.
mingling and actually having a true break, not slamming a Venti as they run from one meeting to the next. And I have noticed in Sweden, when I take the time to actually have a break for lunch and slowly eat and enjoy conversation, yes, I leave satisfied, and that Mars bar isn't quite as appealing.
That's a very interesting thing.
Number
to
3,
notice.
sports, not diet products. Now, Swedes do have diet products, but it's substantially different than in US. When I go to US or in Canada, we have those whole diet food aisles, and they're sad.
Silly me, I got the diet shampoo.
It's Weight Watchers, it's Atkins, it's low calorie, no sugar, no fat, no fun.
Yeah, it's garbage, and most of it's like this big too.
There's
Like
nothing
you're like, oh yeah, I'll buy the diet pizza. The only reason it's low calorie is because it's this big. It's that big.
I hate more in the
Only 4 calories. It's this big.
marketing world than the Oreo Thins, the 100-calorie packs.
Exactly, the Oreo Thins. Like, yeah, you made the Oreos low calorie because they are thinner. It says what?
They're supposed to satisfy your craving. It doesn't. You eat 5 bags of them, and we're never
Bags.
satisfied. Now, they have a couple of those products
That's a Canadian way of saying. That's a very Canadian accent. Bags.
in Sweden, but I see the replacement of what I would call sport. There's a lot of things that encourage a healthy lifestyle, activity, something you'd have in the middle of a sports game, things that can keep you going throughout your activity, not just try and eat as low calorie as possible.
It appears Team Sweden will clinch the gold.
Point 4, cost of food. I was always told Scandinavia is expensive. And yes, the prices of taxes and gas are extreme, but the cost of basic nutrient-dense food are mind-blowingly cheaper than Canada. Example, I recently bought a crate of blueberries here, which costs about $4 Canadian. Now, that is like freaking $7 in Vancouver.
Berries are so expensive here in the States.
Number 5,
Very annoying because, you know, especially like kids, like childhood obesity, really bad here in America. But every kid loves berries. Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. They are so expensive though. Like compared to just getting some gummies. Because the kids, honestly, it's kind of amazing. Like they don't care. Like berries are equivalent to them to gummies. Gummies just cost 100 times less money. And they're like, you know, you don't have to refrigerate them and stuff.
liquor store hours. Introducing you to Simbaboget. I'm learning Swedish. I'm on a 53-day Duolingo streak. I could say approximately 4 words. Simbaboget, the government-owned liquor store and only
Wait, she lives in Sweden and doesn't speak Swedish?
place that you can buy liquor in Sweden. Similar to the LCBO in Ontario, Canada's kind of weird. We have some provinces that have government-owned liquor stores and other are private, like our Wild Wild West, Alberta. Love you. You're wild. Texas, Canada. Because it's similar to LCBO in Ontario, is government.
I'm not gonna lie, I assumed she was Swedish and just spoke really, really great English, because she kind of looks Swedish, right? But she's actually Canadian, and she's living in Sweden. Okay, that makes sense.
Owned. It has strict hours. Every liquor store in Sweden is only open between 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on
That's
Saturday.
probably for the best. People don't need to be buying liquor after 10 p.m.
And not open on Sundays, which doesn't seem like much. It's just the less hours open and also not having available in grocery stores. So you're less likely to just grab a 6-pack or a bottle of wine just for fun. You have to kind of go out of your way and plan it to go pick it up. Number 6,
It's one of those things that's kind of interesting because obviously Americans would be outraged if you changed that law. They actually, here in my stupid state of Indiana, see, I'm calling it stupid for this reason. Look at me. They used to ban alcohol sales on Sunday. And I, for one, thought that was ridiculous. Now, from a health standpoint, obviously, less alcohol is good. But I would just be annoyed. I don't overconsume alcohol. So therefore, if I want a freaking beer on Sunday, that was annoying. So, yeah, I don't know how to think about it. It's got the pros and cons.
favorite Swedish tradition, which I adapted way too fast, Swedish Candy. A campaign started by dentists a couple of decades ago encouraged Swedes to only have their kids eat candy on Saturday to improve their dental health, and it drastically helped. And as these kids grew up, it became more of a way of life. It's a tradition to eat candy on Saturday. The analogy I would give is like eggnog. Eggnog.
You would think that would be bad for kids' health. Like, we have a tradition. On Saturdays, we eat candy. But considering that means they don't eat candy the other 6 days, that makes sense. That's very interesting. It probably made the candy taste all that much better, too, saving it all for Saturday.
It's great. Who wants eggnog in July? Ugh. The magic is having it on Christmas, and that's kind of how candy is to Swedes on Saturday. And oh my God, their candy stores, you just go in, you get a big bucket, and you fill it however you want, and you just weigh it on a scale, and their candy is superb. They only have it on Saturday, so
This looks amazing.
there's less of the just kind of mindlessly.
I mean, we have places like that in America, but it does not. That kind of blows it out of the water. That looked amazing.
Have Snicker bars at lunch. It's more of like, ooh, we're gonna have candy on Saturday. And I think that just naturally limits the amount of sugar consumed throughout the week. I realize a lot of people
Look at all the candy.
will consider that restrictive. I get that because the nutrition, wellness, fitness industry over in North America, there's a lot of balance and being able to have something every day, not being restrictive, because if you restrict yourself with something, you'll overeat when you get it. And I do believe in that, but I think that comes down to a personality, and some people...
It's kind of like binge drinking here in America. You know, it's kind of like you just tell kids not to drink, and so they end up just binge drinking whenever they get the chance.
do okay with limiting their consumption.
It can happen
Throughout the week, and some people that can cause a binge restrict cycle. So it really depends on you. But just what I've noticed in Swedes, it's less of a restrict yourself all week and more of a something to look forward to on the weekend. Like we look forward to eggnog in December. You're not thinking in July.
Oh, if only I could have eggnog right now.
Oh, maybe if you're one of those people.
I mean, I think that kind of just goes to having like a better mindset about food and a stronger will. A lot of Americans just have the mindset, I'm just going to eat whatever the hell I want whenever I want. And they're fat as hell. Those ones are very fat.
Number 7.
A lot of Americans have the mindset, I should never be hungry. I should never feel an ounce of hunger. That's like a sin. That's like sad, you know, that's like evil. It's like being tortured. It's like if someone, you know, was abusing you or something, you know, that's equivalent to being hungry. Any ounce of hunger is bad. You should eat till you're full. And then the second you get an ounce of hunger, you need to find something to eat.
Lack of regular pop Here's a classic Swedish grocery store drink section. There's 3 sections. One with pop, which only about 1/3 has full sugar. Half is sparkling water, and the other half is what I would label sports drinks. Also, it's just like 10 times more likely to see a sweet. There's a lot of diversity in Europe, and so I'm very, very stereotyping, but just my only observation, it's more likely to see someone drinking sparkling water than regular pop.
Yeah.
Before I go on with this list, I do want to
Shane,
address
it's the pop.
obesity is complicated. It's not as simple as like,
Just eat candy on Saturdays, Kelty. Oh, you solved the epidemic. Wow, it was that simple.
no, I get it. There's social economical problems. There's some people who are raised who just can't afford food. And in lower income families, it is a lot harder for them to afford nutrient dense food. So pretty much for every calorie a lower income family has, there's less nutrients for a calorie of someone who can afford higher quality foods, things that are more nutrient dense, whole, unprocessed food. So it's a lot more likely.
You know, I mean, I've already alluded to this fact earlier. I was talking about it, you know, about how bananas are super cheap. I really don't know what to think about that argument. I feel like there's something to it. Like, yeah, cheap food, like poor people have to eat garbage food. It's like, yeah, there's something to that. But on the flip side, it's like, if you really had the strong will to be healthy, because I know these people, you know. I know this sounds kind of harsh, but it's like a lot of them just eat whatever the hell they want. Like they're not buying the shitty garbage because it's the only thing I can afford. They're buying it because that's just they kind of hate their life, or they're kind of like, you know, like that's kind of like the one thing they look forward to is eating their Little Debbie's, you know, processed cake. It sounds bad. I'm sure does that sound bad? I don't know. but it is also relatively cheap.
Someone who has money can spend it on fruits and vegetables, organic grass-fed meats, versus someone who's lower income.
I think there's a difference between being like nutritionally healthy, getting all the nutrients and vitamins you need, and versus like having too much calories. Like it can go hand in hand. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not trying to freaking, you know, be on a pedestal here or anything, but I feel like it can go hand in hand because some unnutritional food is very bingeable. But you can still get fat eating healthy food. Like you just eat a bunch of healthy food, you'll get fat. And if you eat not very much garbage food, you'll be thin. I mean, with that said, yes, the food processing here in America is working against you. It's definitely working against you. But yeah, to finish out that thought, like, you can eat this ultra-processed garbage food and just eat a little bit of it and be thin. You just won't be healthy. You'll have terrible, you know, bad heart health. You'll have bad nutrients. Your bones will be weak and all this bad stuff. But there's a slight distinction there, in my opinion, about being fat versus being healthy.
Has to have a bit more packaged canned goods, which are tended to be higher in calories, lower in nutrients. 2, hormones, which is a mixture of genetics and nurture. If your hormones are out of whack, it is so hard to just like eat to being satisfied. It's a very complicated subject, but hormones have a great impact.
I think that's a really interesting point.
That can be brought on by your genetics or just how you're raised. 3, how large US is. One of the blessings of Europe is it's small. You can walk or ride your bike everywhere. In US and Canada too, you pretty much have to drive, and you drive to your desk job, and so you're just not naturally as active, and it's just how you're forced to be. It's not really out of your own.
There's also just a total lack of public transportation, which even with public transportation, of course, you're still having to walk. You know, it doesn't get you to the final destination a lot of the time. You're having to walk that last mile. And it just is totally lacking here in America. So you end up just driving straight to your destination, barely walking at all.
Choice. Number 8, Swedes. Of course I had to include this for you. Fika. The biggest Swedish tradition, fika, the act of stopping in the middle of the day to enjoy a coffee and sweet treat with a friend. Us, North
How
America.
does this make you thinner?
Americans love a coffee and a sweet treat, but it's different how we consume it versus them. We're running around 100 miles per hour, just trying to get a dopamine hit in this rat race amongst traffic. We have no energy and we've overslept and we just need some kind of hit to keep us from crashing in. And guess what happens? You barely even notice it. You forgot you had that donut. It was just a quick, just transactional dopamine hit. It wasn't a moment to enjoy it. And that's what fika is. It's stopping in the middle of the day, having the coffee, a chat with a friend, and enjoying the cake. And it's that act of enjoying it that you actually process. You had this nice sweet treat. And it's not villainizing either. It's just, I think we just have a tendency in North America to shove things down and we simply forget because we got a lot of just which also comes into play. There's just a sense of calm.
That is so fascinating. Like, I think her explanation makes sense there, but still, at the end of the day, the fact that you guys have a culture where you stop and eat a sweet treat and a coffee every day and you're still so skinny and healthy, it's very impressive.
In Scandinavia, especially Sweden, which I've spent the most time in. And the only word I have for it is serotonin. I feel more creative. I feel less survival. I feel less of the rat race. They still work really hard, and I'm not taking that away. It's not like everyone's just sitting here having coffee and not working. There's just this sense of peace and enjoying the moment. Number 9, did they start them young? All these things are taught from when they're young. Not just the parents, but the whole community. It's not just how you eat, but the joy of an active lifestyle. In Malmo, they have this race that all the kids in the
I think that's a big part of it, the culture.
community comes. Every age just goes a race around the park. This did not look like your average gym recess workout. No, this felt like Coachella for 6-year-olds. There was music playing. There was DJs. There was bouncy castles. There was milk being given out. And it was pandemonium in the best way. I was like, oh, these kids associate like fitness like a music festival. We associate it with like being yelled at by our gym teacher. And it's just that like love of activity starts at a young age. Number 10, walking and biking everywhere. They love.
And I feel like kids naturally do love physical activity, you know. And it's a shame if in any way here in America, the culture kind of like diminishes that. It should be encouraged, obviously. But yeah, every freaking little kid I know. I mean, the amount of energy my son has, 2 years old, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I don't understand. You know, he freaking loves physical activity. All he wants to do is run.
To walk and
Like Forrest Gump.
bike everywhere. And not just that they love, it's accessible. It's smaller countries, you can bike to work, you can walk to work. There's beautiful bike paths, you're among nature. Yeah, could we bike places in Canada? Yes, but how many times have I almost been hit by a car in Toronto? 5. I've almost hit 5 times in Toronto. And also when I lived in Edmonton, there's no grocery stores or restaurants or anything for a good 10 kilometers. You gotta drive. Sweet, step outside your door, boom, bike path.
Yeah.
Number 11, portion sizes. I love to dabble in a Venti. I'm usually a grande kind of girl, but you know what? I will get a Venti. Not in Sweden. I feel I would just
I don't know the difference.
be looked at like gluttonous.
This girl thinks she
I know one's bigger than the other. I just don't remember which one.
needs a Venti triple espresso. Where are you going?
What you doing?
Calm down.
No one bats an eye at a Venti in North America. It's just more practical. You get more.
Okay,
I
so Venti's the big one.
was recently at the gas station and I went and noticed they don't even have Venti. Things don't go above grande. Yes, you can find it. The only analogy I'd have is, you know when you go to Vegas and you have those crazy big drinks, like the 2-foot long ones? I feel like drinking a Venti on your way to work is like drinking one of those in downtown LA on your way to work. Number 12, the
That would be crazy. Is that really how we look?
checkout aisle. Now, how many times have you been there? You're checking out your food. You made a grocery list. You wrote it out. You followed it word by word. And you're so proud of yourself. You're so proud of yourself that you see that 99 cents Reese's cup in the checkout aisle. I'm like,
You know what? It's only 99 cents. Throw it in.
of course. I fall victim to it every time. Every time. But not in.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I've never fallen victim to that. I think it's because I'm like a penny pincher, you know, because it's always a bad deal. Like, maybe it's 99 cents, but it's because it's this bit. Like, you only get, like, this little one. I'm like, oh, if I wanted those, I would have bought the big pack, and then I would have got them at way cheaper per, unit. So I've never fallen victim to that in my life, I'm not going to lie. But obviously, this isn't about me. This is about Americans in general. And, yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. I've seen it. I see it firsthand every day.
In Sweden. What is in Sweden? Mint and gum. So as we are trying to battle the temptation of a 99-cent Reese cup every single time we go to checkout, they just have choices of gum. At the beginning of this video, I talked about obesity, gaining weight. I just also want to pop in here.
I think gum might be the only thing I've actually bought in in a grocery like checkout aisle. Maybe I'm Swedish. Before I get to my last 2 points, I wanted to address no, the topic of weight is a very triggering topic to lots of people, and everyone has their own unique battle with it. Just wanted to touch base a bit on blah, 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 blah. Yep. Rather, it was meant to show the difference I've noticed in Sweden, or a more healthy relationship with food and fitness I find here versus in North America. Okay, trigger warning.
Saying gaining weight isn't evil. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you unhealthy. Some people need to gain weight to be healthy, and the reality is some need to lose weight, and sometimes weight.
I mean, obviously, overall, there's this weird thing here in America where for a while, people were trying to tell you that like being fat is healthy, and obviously that's not true. It's bad. It's terrible for your heart, bad for your blood pressure, bad for all sorts of reasons. But with that said, you don't have to be a freaking stick, You just can't be like a freaking balloon and think you're healthy. Obviously, I think that's obvious to the rest of the world.
Isn't the problem. It's a symptom of other underlining things. I don't want to also add to the narrative that fat, gaining weight equals bad. My weight fluctuates throughout the year. Everyone's fluctuates through the year. Everyone in Sweden fluctuates throughout the year. That is completely normal, and that's not what this video is. You probably noticed this video wasn't like, this is how they eat less calories, and this is how they lose weight. It's not that. It's the difference I find in North America and Sweden is just this lifestyle. And it's beginning to spread a bit more into Europe, so Sweden is definitely not perfect, and Europe is definitely not perfect. That was what stemmed the first documentary I saw, is that, the crisis we're having in the US is spreading. But I just noticed such a lifestyle difference in Sweden, and this appreciation of food, and this guilt as much, and this appreciation for moving your body and enjoying it. And naturally, this joy of movement and food allows a bit more generally healthier lifestyle. But
I totally agree. I think lifestyle, that's the only way to really do it. That's the only way a country's actually going to be thinner on average, is if the overall culture and lifestyle is just different. Whereas here in America, like I've said, the culture and lifestyle, a lot of it's just like, oh, I'm just going to eat as much as I want. And I should never be hungry.
It is a very complex subject, and if you're listening and you really struggle with weight and body acceptance, I just want to say I hear you. You're not bad. You're going through something. I'm on this journey with you, and I don't want you to feel alienated. This video I just found is just kind of eye-opening, that I learned when I went to Sweden is just such an appreciation for, lack of better terms, healthy living. Weight is a complicated subject. I've just mentioned a few times on this channel. I want us to get to the point where hearing weight is not so heavy. I would love it if someone's weight is like hearing someone's blood pressure, hearing someone's heart rate. It's not so heavy. You can talk about it.
I mean, I really appreciate what she's saying, and I think it's really, said genuinely, and she means the best. But I think in the real world, it's like, weight is always going to be something that affects your appearance, unlike your heart rate. So, it's always going to be a way, 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 way more touchy subject than you've got a high heart rate or something, That's just the way it is. We're all a bunch of monkeys that care way too much about what we look like and what each other looks like. I do totally agree with her that, I'm not trying to bash anyone that's, overweight, or fat or whatever. I sympathize with it, and I just am trying to understand what it is that causes America to be a lot more fat than other countries.
And it not be this burden that you're good or bad, or you're failing or you're not. It's just a number, and there's so many more things. We have to look at our health as a whole of all the different factors, and it's just 1/100th on there. And I think that's why it is weighted, no pun intended, so heavily, is because for so many years we just had our weight to go off. We didn't have anything else we could look at daily. But now we have Apple Watches. We have more knowledge. We can look at other factors, whether it be our sleep, our heart rate.
I mean, the sad truth about it is that weight heavily influences how good looking people consider other people. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, right? Right? I don't think I'm breaking any news here, but, that's why it's such a controversial subject. It's because it changes how you look, and if people think you're good looking, And I think you can be good looking at all sorts of different weights.
our blood pressure, our glucose.
Genuinely.
There's so many other things we can look at aside from just our weight to indicate.
Also, remember our body needs the fat we have on our bodies, especially for women, to regulate our hormones. How much we weigh and body fat difference is completely individual. Healthy looks different on everyone.
How our health is. Take this all with a grain of salt when I talked about weight and obesity at the end. It's more about like, how can we just enjoy healthy living? Our second last point, all ages playing sports. Now, Swedes are token introverts. They hate small talk. How are you supposed to be friends? Simple. Sports. There's nothing more Swede loves that you can do something with someone without actually having to talk to them.
That's me, dude. I think I'm Swedish.
And no better way than a paddle match. They love their sports and activities, and simply how it starts young, it maintains into old age, and it's such a way of
I was meant to be born in freaking Sweden, man. Look how beautiful this is, and you don't have to talk.
Socializing, and I just think it just becomes a
Ironic considering all I do on this channel is talk.
part of them, and every age does sports. It's not like the classic North American. If you can make it to grade 6 and stay in organized sports, you're winning. If you make it to grade 9, you are an athlete. Grade 12, hello, practically pro. You make it to university, you're still playing sports, you're like practically a celebrity at that point. And then, yeah, no one maintains after that.
It's kind of true. I mean, maybe that's a fortunate thing. Any Swedish people want to move over here and play some tennis, you know. If you're on the team in university, that's like major cool points right there. Or even high school. You know, if you're on the volleyball team or whatever, that's like, whoa, this person actually moves and uses their body physically. Amazing.
You just get a gym membership. No, in Sweden, it's just a way of life of all ages, keeping up with sports, which is the funnest way to stay active. Don't compare a soccer
Totally agree.
game to just a 3x12 bicep curl. Who's having more fun and wants to show up every Tuesday to do it? Which leads
I think both are great.
me to my last point, identity. It is cheesy, but if I've learned anything, if you want to make a sustainable lifestyle choice, the easiest way is just to make it a part of your identity. Once it becomes a part of your identity, you would never change that. It's who makes you who you are, and that's something about Swedes. They identify as healthy, minimalist, and it's a core belief to kind of fit into a standard. It comes down to this identity of part of being a Swede is living this healthy life. Once it's part of an identity,
It's almost like tied to your national pride. Like, I'm Swedish. I'm gonna be healthy and thin. Interesting.
it's a part of your friend's identity, and once your friends are doing it, it's a lot more likely you're going to stick with it too. Not just at a citizen level, but even up to the government and how the
That's true. Here in America, people love to try to stand out.
governments view their citizens. And that's just the overall difference I've noticed between Sweden and North America, my time living here. Now, this is a very complex topic. There's so many economical, political, race things we could go into. But for me, I just thought, you know what, these are a few little things that I've just noticed where marketing is more heavily influenced in USA and just this identity here in Sweden that I just find it much easier to just live a healthy, balanced life, that you're active and eat nutrient-dense food, but enjoy your...
That was so fascinating. I loved her little things she pointed out, things that I would have never thought of. You know, those are always the most interesting things. It's not just like, oh, we walk more. That's it. You know, there's a lot of interesting little nuanced things.
little cake and coffee every single day. It's just very admirable. I love Canada and I love the hustle and the bustle and the craziness that it is. But then I do come to Sweden and sometimes I'm like, ooh, is this living? Comment down below if you're Swedish or from Scandinavia, if you resonate with any of these things. If there's other countries you guys would be fascinated about. I love this idea of different cultures and different countries and how they adapt their idea of fitness and wellness and nutrition. And
That was a really great video. Go check out her channel, Kelty O'Connor. You forgot what I think is the most important one. Every kid gets free lunch at school from age 1 to 19. The food is healthy and not pizza and burgers. You know what's funny? Over here in America, the food used to be really, really, really unhealthy in school until Michelle Obama. I don't know what she did, but she somehow made it all like healthier. It's still unhealthy and super processed, but they took away the ho-hos. They always serve salads, and for drinks, it's water and milk. Healthy habits at a young age. If the family eats unhealthy at home, at least they get a better meal at school. That's a really great point. That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Wow. 34 minutes. Oh boy. Thanks to anybody who actually watched. I'll see you guys tomorrow.